Hey everyone, it's been a little while since my last video. I thought I'd just do another one. We got a little break here in the action. I thought my last video was pretty good. Trying to look at reality from God's perspective. I guess if I get back to the foundation again, what do I really know about reality? Well, I know I exist. I know other people exist. I know this world is really here. I don't know if God exists, but I'm going to choose to believe that God is there, that he's all-knowing, all-powerful, all-loving. I don't think the Bible, the Quran, the Book of Mormon, Science and with the Key to the Scriptures, the Christian Science book, on and on and on. I don't think any of those books are the actual Word of God or contain the fullness of truth. Of course they don't. I think that we human beings now are in a better position ever to try to put together a better understanding of reality and of God using logic and mathematics, computer science, empirical observation, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm listening to a book on tape about Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was this Lutheran pastor that died in 1945. He was executed by Adolf Hitler. He was one of like 7,000 people that the Nazis arrested for the assassination attempt on Adolf Hitler that failed. Tom Cruise plays the part of the guy who sets the suitcase bomb, I think, in the movie Valkyrie. I was just talking about that movie with this really, really smart atheist. I think he was an atheist. Pretty sure he was an atheist. Boy, was he smart. And he had come out of the Mennonite tradition. And I remember challenging him and saying to him, you should be in charge of the Mennonite church. An atheist in charge of the Mennonite church is like, yeah, well, I don't even know what the Mennonite church is and all the different versions they have or whatever. But yeah, I mean, exactly. Somebody who can see things so clearly and not lie or BS anyone should be the person in charge. Because it's just like, my image here, correct me if I'm wrong, is if you go to any Catholic priest and you ask a Catholic priest, do you believe Jesus was resurrected? What, many priests who know that there's a certain hokiness to it or a certain lack of truth to it or whatever, what many priests will do is they'll deflect the question by saying things, well, that's what the Bible says, or that's what the church teaches. They'll say stuff like, which is absolutely, they didn't lie to you. That's what the Bible says, and that's what the church teaches. But you're like, hey, Father, do you believe it's true? And it's like, and then you have the other priests that will say, of course. And it's like, well, those guys are not seeing reality clearly. I mean, you could try to challenge them. Well, did you witness it? Well, of course I didn't, but. And then you could try to listen to their argumentation about why they think it's true. It's not that I don't want it to be true. I've said this, I am being repetitive here. I'm talking about, I got to go through my YouTube videos and I got to pull out the best stuff and try to weave it together. I never will. I'll never have time. I'll leave that for maybe somebody else to do at some other point. I got too much to do. I just leave these videos up as a memorial to my sons and to the future about what this particular person believed in. What is it, October 2024, October, I don't even know the date, 2021st. It's a Sunday, so October 21st, 2024, the election of Trump and Harris are coming. I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris, obviously. Anyone who knows me knows I was going to do that. Had a great moment. I should not tell this story because this story has something that could be something that's not good in it. But there were these MAGA supporters. They were on the Westchester Pike there in Pennsylvania, and they're blowing their bullhorns and stuff. And as I rode by, I gave them the middle finger. They're all like, you're triggered. Why do you hate Trump? Why do you hate Trump? Why do you hate Trump? And I just, I yelled out the window. I says, because he denied Obama's birth certificate. That's why I hate Trump. And it's like, it's kind of the guy immediately said, well, Obama was born in Kenya, which just shows you how stupid he is. But the, there's, why do I say that? Because, things have their initial root. All the way at the foundation of my profound hatred for Donald Trump, my profound dislike for Donald Trump, is the fact that he denied Barack Obama's birth certificate. Where's his birth certificate at? Well, I mean, that's how suddenly I'm paying attention to him in, 2015? Like, I'm suddenly watching this fool talk about the president's birth certificate. And it's like, and that cuts me some kind of way because I have interracial sons. And it's like, well, are my sons going to have to go through life defending their Americanness? I mean, their father is a 7th generation American, right? I have ancestors who fought in the American Revolution, right? So it's like, my sons are going to have to go through life defending their American citizenship. So from that moment forward, I hated Trump. I hated him with a passion because I knew it was racist, demagoguery, bullshit. And whenever he would do things that have two interpretations, some people would continue to laugh and think he was funny and thinking I would go grouchier and meaner and I would hate him even some more. I never forgave him for the birth certificate thing. That I never forgave him for what he said about Mexicans. Well, Mexico sends their people, they send, and there's something really, like, I'm reading that book about Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and there's something like it needs to be said. It's like, when Hitler gets elected in 1933, the Nazis were able to lock in some ideas about the nature of the German people and etc. that nobody could dispute. You couldn't even argue about it. I saw the same thing with Kamala Harris when she was in the Fox interview with that guy on the Fox, because the Fox Brett, what was his name? I don't watch Fox News that often because it's so terrible. To the right wing, it's so absolutely axiomatic that the border problem in the South is awful. It's the worst thing ever. Fentanyl and face tattoos and drug cartels and fentanyl and face tattoos and fentanyl and face tattoos. This is, and it's like, it isn't that bad. In fact, you should just open up the border. They make the border everywhere. You know what I'm saying? If you're a Mexican citizen and you should be able to just come here and work and own property. I didn't say you could vote. I didn't say you could own a gun. I didn't say you could sit on a jury, because you're not a citizen. You know what I mean? But you should be able. People from Mexico should freely allowed to be coming here and vice versa. The border's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You break a law, you get arrested for it. There's all kinds of prisons and all kinds of punishment for people who break rules. And but you can't talk like I talk about what we should obviously be doing at the Mexican border wall, because it's so completely won the argument. So somebody triumphantly announces to me the reason why Trump is obviously the better candidate is because border crossings are up 5 times under Biden. I'm like, 5 times, sure. I don't know how in the world you get to make them measure that, because it's illegal border crossings. How do you know they even happened in the first place? But okay, do I believe that border crossings are up under Biden? Oh yeah, absolutely. Biden's a good guy. If you're a border guard, if you're a border, agent, and you round up some Mexican guys that are trying to cross the border illegally, and you actually catch them, you're going to be careful how you treat them, because Biden's going to want to make sure that our 14th Amendment due process clause is followed. You can't deprive anyone, not just citizens, but not anyone, of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. You have to follow federal law and offer people hearings and chances to do things and all that other kinds of, announce asylum and what have you. You have to do that because that's what federal law is. Should federal law change? Absolutely, but it's not, hasn't been changed, so that is the law. And, Trump would be one who's way more likely just to break those rules. We don't need to follow that stuff. Because it's power. I can do whatever I want. I'm president, which is, so what do I think border crossings are up under Biden? Absolutely. Do I think that's a good thing? Yeah. It's like, I don't get it. I see, if you try to look at reality from God's perspective, you have to love everybody. Yeah, I'm on Team America. I get that. I'm on Team Philadelphia. I love the Eagles. I'm on, I'm part of a group, my family first, right? And then, my community second, and then, and then Pennsylvania, then America, then the world. But there's not a single person in this world I wouldn't consider, an extended member of my family, of the extended member of the human race. I care about everyone. Of course, God does. That's logical and obvious. When Trump did things like, I want to ban all Muslims from coming into America until we know what's going on. You would think that that if God is there, and I think I believe that He is, I hold that He is. I don't know. I mean, God, I'm sure, shed a tear that day. That would be sad because He loves everyone, and you're saying there's us and there's them, and we don't like them, and that anything that goes in that direction. I mean, I called Trump a Nazi on Facebook. What? 2016, 2015. I was early. I was real early. I stand by it. Wouldn't change a word of it. You know, he's a Nazi because he definitely makes them other than us and therefore worthy of derision, of hate, of rounding up, of punishment, or whatever. You know, and he's so lacking in truth. Weaponization of the Department of Justice. There's a scary idea. You want to weaponize the Department of Justice. I've been the subject of every investigation under the sun. Well, maybe you shouldn't have committed so many crimes. You would have been under some. I remember everyone's like, right now it's axiomatic with the right wing that the Mueller report and the Mueller investigate was complete fraud. No, it wasn't complete fraud. Go back in time. Look at the emails that his son sent to the Russian agent. About I'm really thankful for your government's support of my father. I mean, it's like, there were so many things that were, that needed to be looked at because they were so different than anything that had transpired before. But our system did play itself out, and a person given the job, Robert Mueller in this case, a lawyer, a person with the authority, given the job to decide whether or not to press charges, made the decision not to press charges, and that's just how that works. And you can say their weaponization of our criminal justice system. That's why every American citizen needs to be a strong person. You get picked for jury, you go to the jury, you listen to the case, and you make a decision. You can absolutely sense when political nonsense is going on. And when you pick a jury, you got all kinds of rights over who gets to sit there. The defense attorney can exclude a whole bunch of people just because they don't want them. And then they can exclude people for cause. They can say, hey, the reason why we don't want this person is because of this reason or that reason. And then the judge has to grant that. And that recent criminal jury trial that Trump had in New York City, he couldn't find one person to find him not guilty? I guess he did it then. I don't know the details of the case. I can't know the details. I get too much to do with my life. That's the beauty of the American system, right? 12 people sat in judgment for all of us. And you're going to badmouth that system? You're going to badmouth those 12 citizens who listened to that case and found him guilty? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. You're going to sit there and talk about corrupt juries all day long? I don't know. No, that's not how that works. If I was called for a jury, I would listen to the case very, very carefully. And I would make a decision based upon what I heard, and then based upon what I know, and common sense too. And so that's the beauty of the American system. But what can destroy the American system? What destroys a republic? A unique figure like Trump. They're the kind of people that can destroy a republic because they'll come along and they'll just accumulate so much power unto themselves with people running around with their own insignia, their own red hats on, and their own, MAGA flags and all this crap. And what's he going to do? Pardon all the people that committed violence on January 6th? Hey, maybe he'll make some of them FBI officers. There's a good idea. That's exactly what the brown shirts were in the Nazi era, right? Because I'm reading that Dietrich Bonhoeffer book, so this is all in the front of my mind, right? These brown shirts crazing hell all over the place. The next thing you know, 3-4 years into it, they're now police officers. Yeah. Well, I think the Americans, Germany had obviously gone through a lot of hell after World War I, and there was a lot of, a lot of people starved to death, and they had a lot of problems there. And I guess the more I think about it, I don't think that Trump could possibly lead to the collapse of the American Republic, but he's getting close. Because whatever he does, we still have Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania's government, right? And guys like me are going to start talking about states' rights if Trump wins. Instead of, hey, we're Pennsylvania, Of course we will, because we're not stupid.